If nobody talks about you, then you are nobody. Then you are nobody. Remember,
All is one reflections and peace to the gods. I am Priestess Osun Funke, Iyanifa, and I am the founder of Orisha Hoodoo Institute. Tonight, I am joined by my illustrious colleague, Dr. Quintarius Shakir, also known as Hugonzo Lacroix, and we are going to be doing a reading on the internet sensation, Ms Netta. Okay. So that's what we're doing here tonight. A little bit of a different kind of topic for me, but I am versatile. Okay. And I'm happy that you're here, those of you who are here live. And if you're catching the replay, thank you for that as well. Be sure to like this video, share it if you think it's great, and subscribe if you already haven't. All right, everybody. So hopefully Hugon wet your whistles with and satisfy some of your curiosity for the mundane or the physical aspects of what's going on with Charles and Netta. So I'm going to do something a little bit different than what Hugon did, and I am going to lean into the spiritual aspects of what's going on with Netta. But I'm not, like Hugon said, I'm not looking into whether or not Netta has a root on Charles. None of that matters. And like Hugon said, it's obvious to me that there is definitely something that's more voluntary happening with those two. So the first question I want to ask, and I'm going to use my bone board. I'm going to put that on the screen here. Well, actually, I'll wait until I do the throw. But I'm going to use my bone board. If you guys have ever watched me read, then you know that I use a collection of charms, stones, bones, and crystals, and a wooden board to read energy around a particular matter. And the subject matter tonight is Ms Netta and Charles. So I want to know, what is it that we need to know about this phenomenon that is Charles and Netta? You would never expect two people who have questionable swiftness to rise to such fame and prominence from a trailer in Alabama. But we're witnessing it. It's happening right before us. Netta is on every platform, dominating right now. So what do we need to know about the success of Ms Netta? All right, let's go. Okay, so first thing I see is that Ms Netta's success has been transformed. This is actually very serendipitous. Ms Netta was not supposed to have this success. It wasn't promised to her. And it was transformed by a series of, I think, decisions that Ms Netta made along the way that properly positioned her to enjoy or experience this win, literally. Okay. Here we have an interruption of destiny, and we have our tiger's eye upside down. So this was not created. The timeline of her destiny was the timeline that represents Ms Netta's destiny didn't change. Okay. However, like I said, there was a series of decisions that Ms Netta made that made what we're watching happen, or created the roads, opened the roads for that to happen. So Netta was always very much focused on relationships, on love. I think that Netta had a very difficult past, and it's not hard to imagine. You know, I said early, I respect about Ms Netta is the fact that they are so authentic in the way that they live and the way that they present themselves. And it looks like Netta had, with this pink quartz, this self-love stone over destiny. It's talking about Netta having a difficult relationship with loving other people, loving her the way she loved herself. Netta is a pioneer for self-expression. Netta's older than I am and was doing this at a time where, you know, they called people like Netta cross dressers and other derogatory terms. And Ms Netta actually found the courage to walk in their truth and love themselves. This also presented challenges, though, because Netta had a difficult time experiencing romantic love. Okay. So I think that what we're seeing, and we're picking up on there being some difficulties in her relationship with Charles, but I think that what we're seeing is Netta trying to stick it out and be present and available in the relationship in spite of Charles's youth and Charles's flakiness. And I do believe that to be true. Let me show you why, what I'm seeing here. This snowflake jasper and this heart here, okay? It's a little bit different than Netta when it comes to the relationship. Charles feels differently than Netta does. Netta's a little bit more serious. Netta's older. Netta is has resigned herself to being in the relationship, whereas Charles may be a little bit flighty just because there are some things that haven't come to the surface, because that's what this tile is talking about. So Charles still has some growing to do, but Charles absolutely does love Netta. So the relationship is real. They're not faking it. The relationship is real. I just think that because of their age and how they are, if you will, emotionally and spiritually, there's a little bit of a difference there. So what do we need to know about Netta's success? Let's look a little bit deeper. Netta's learning a lot. Netta is learning a lot in this season. And that is why she's able to ride this wave. Remember, I said that this success has been created by a series of decisions and good choices that Miss Netta made. So Netta is at a place in learning from things, where Netta is experiencing things and learning from the things that she's experiencing, and that's allowing her to make good decisions. So if it means that Netta has to get online and argue with Tia Kemp and take a few blows just to get those numbers up, Netta's willing to do that. If it means that Netta has to show up to a party with a crooked wig looking a hot mess, Netta's going to do that, because Netta has learned that that's the way that they need, the type of moves that they need to make in order to be successful. Netta's learning from this success. I see here, let me show you. So Netta's going through a period of time right now. This is the present that I'm seeing, where Netta's a little bit disillusioned. Netta is getting kind of tired of the limelight. This is more than Netta ever really wanted to experience. But Netta's enjoying the money. The money is good. And Netta has decided that they are going to stick it out and ride this wave. So we are going to be from Miss Netta in the future, whether it's in terms of staying in entertainment or coming out with a product line or something of that nature. Netta is still going to be, she's going to be riding this wave of success wherever it leads her. And Netta is an excellent student of experience. So I think that she's going to figure it out. Even me looking at Netta's success, I've said to myself, there's a lot of opportunity for Netta to come out with, an apron line, for example, or some seasoning, a cookbook, things of that nature. I think Netta needs to spend some time, and this is me talking now, not the board, but I think Miss Netta needs to spend some time cultivating her brand, okay? But I think that if Ms. Netta does that, from what I'm seeing here on this board, Ms. Netta can continue to ride this wave of success. The other thing, Netta prayed for money, and Ms. Netta wished for things to change, not necessarily for her to become famous. Netta had one of those, prayers that we pray when we're little girls, like, Lord, please let me be famous one day. But I think Netta said, I want to make more money. I want to experience something different. And this that Netta is experiencing represents her wishes. Now, that's very different from prayers, y'all. Um, this represents her wishes, things that she had hoped to experience, positioning herself and aligning herself with those things, going to parties, opening up, for parties, being popular and in the place to be. These are all things that Netta wished for, which are not necessarily business decisions. That's how, hopefully, you understand what I'm talking about. So Netta didn't necessarily pray to dominate any particular industry or space. Rather, Netta wanted to experience certain things. Netta wanted to experience certain things and be like, I'm feeling like she wanted to be in the place to be. So I think that what we're seeing from Ms. Netta right now is Netta living out some childhood traumas, okay? Living out some childhood traumas, righting some wrongs, kind of like an I told you so kind of moment, okay? Netta's having the opportunity to laugh at her haters, to say, you thought I couldn't, you thought I never would. This is all about wishes that Miss Netta had that came true. Here, Spirit is saying, listen, we don't need to meditate on Miss Netta's success too much, almost like it's not our business. It's going to cost us money. We need to be getting to our own bag. We need to not focus on Miss Netta's success. We need to focus on our own success and getting successful in our own right. Ashe, that resonates with me. But yeah, really, Spirit is saying here, listen, Netta's destiny is their own. What Miss Netta eat don't make you shit. Mind your own business. That's what you need to know about this lady's success. Over here, over questions, Spirit is really kind of not entertaining this reading at this point, because they're saying, these questions don't have a long life. While this may be entertaining, the value that's going to come out of this reading and out of these questions are not going to be huge for you, unless, let's keep going, maybe there are some things that we can grab a hold of. Okay, Hugon mentioned earlier something about a child, them possibly adopting a child, and I see that here. And I think that possibility, I think that they actually will. I think that they will adopt a child, and I think that through that adoption, Netta is probably going to position herself to be something related to children. I see that being kind of like a phase 2 of the Charles and Netta show. If Netta doesn't adopt a child, then watch out for a storyline about them attempting to. Okay, watch out for a storyline about them attempting to adopt or something of that nature. Okay. So don't be surprised if there's a storyline, y'all, that emerges where Miss Netta and Charles are looking into adoption, looking into having to do with expanding their family. Spirit is saying that is definitely a possibility, and that if they do it, they will win with it, because I get the boars too. Okay, so that's interesting. Netta's wearing a blindfold, y'all. If you can see here on the board, I get the fishbone over the blindfold. What is that saying? That's saying Netta's going with the flow. That's saying that y'all don't really see the real Netta. That's saying that Netta doesn't really care what you guys think about her. That's saying that Netta is here for the for the money, for the moment and the money. So Netta is not really as caught up in these insults and this, cancellation plot that people have against them as much as everybody may think. Netta really is going with the flow. And earlier, I hate to repeat what was said earlier, but it's like Netta has thick skin. Netta really does have thick skin and is really not interested in what people think about Netta. Netta's looking for opportunity. the original question, if I go back to the original question, which was, what do we need to take up about Netta's success? What do we need to know? And it's about work ethic. Netta has created pathways that lead to success. And so we need to think about the same thing. Netta has created these opportunities. By being a hot mess, sometimes Netta has created roads that she has paved with her own footsteps that lead to her money, okay, to her opportunities. Um, I guess Netta is a pioneer, which is something that I actually do believe myself. Um, so there is an aspect of Netta's success that is ordained, because I have the ancestral stone here, but it wasn't meant to necessarily be through social media. So Netta was ordained to be successful. That is part of their spiritual inheritance. But this social media frenzy is just, again, based on Netta being in the right place at the right time and decisions that Netta made. So the message here is to pay attention to your destiny and pay attention to your ancestral treasury, and make sure that you're tapping in a way that's going to be most beneficial to you and in your walk. Netta is not a fool. Okay, this is the third eye. I got hematite over the third eye. I got the anchor over the third eye. Y'all, I got the other piece of the wishbone over the third eye, and I got another piece of fishbone over the third eye. What does that mean? That means that Netta ain't no fool. That means that Netta sees exactly what is happening, and Netta sees exactly where she is going, y'all. This is not happening to Netta by surprise. Netta is getting some of what Netta is experiencing. Ms Netta is wishing for. I go back to that beef with Tia Kemp, and a lot of these explosions that we see Ms Netta being involved in it, falling out with people, and it being, all this publicity around it. Every shut eye ain't sleep, y'all. Ms Netta is not a fool. She knows exactly what she's doing. She doesn't care what people think about her. That was indicated over here in this part of the reading already. Ms Netta doesn't care what people are thinking about her. So Ms Netta sees the effects of these moments and is perfectly okay with them. So what's the message for us who are asking, what do we need to know about Ms Netta's success? Go with the flow. Learn from what you see. Don't be held down or anchored by what's happening right now. Be anchored in what you want. And don't fight, don't resist. Go with the flow like the fish. Go with the flow of the river until you reach your destiny. That is literally what these charms are saying if I'm picking them apart and reading them like a sentence, okay? What else do I see here? Okay, again, over the river. Ms Netta got a lot of water in this particular chart. What I'm seeing here is that if Ms Netta was a little bit more aware spiritually about what's happening and how the energy is collecting and manifesting around her, then she would be a little bit more powerful. It would fix those little things that still remain that she doesn't have control over. But it looks like the possibility for her to learn this is open. I wouldn't be surprised if Ms Netta did start to have some spiritual experiences, absolutely. But if Ms Netta, didn't take up the offer of one or more spiritualists who are trying to approach her. I mean, I know what happens. Y'all know what happens on our platforms. The people that slide in your DMs because they see you in the Facebook group. The people that approach you because they think you're a spiritual person. That same thing is happening to Ms Netta. Ms Netta is getting contacted. I would not be surprised if Ms Netta did not start to delve into the craft, maybe not as a practitioner, but taking the advice and receiving the help. Because it's going to allow her to be more powerful, to express herself in a more powerful way, to get a better handle. So listen, what that's going to do if Ms Netta starts to embrace the spiritual aspects of what what she's experiencing is going to look less chaotic. So these moments where, she's on live, going off on somebody, screaming at the top of her lungs, calling people ugly and all of that kind of stuff, it would be less chaotic, okay, than that. Netta would be coming from a more powerful place. So what's the message for us? The message is to understand, to learn to read the energy around you, to make necessary investments. That's what this quarter is talking about. To make necessary investments in your spiritual work, or in spiritual work, so that you can experience the fix, okay? Experience the repair that's necessary to the energy around you, so that you can move forward in the most powerful way. That's really like what that's saying for us, okay? Okay, Ms Netta is not being so good with their money. And Ms Netta is being financially abused. Y'all see this right here? Let me show you right here. You see the person with the foot on somebody's neck, and then I got a coin right here. Okay, so what is that talking about? That is saying that Ms Netta is being financially abused, that people are taking money from Ms Netta, that Ms Netta is being asked for money, that Ms Netta is spending money in a way that's not the most beneficial for Ms Netta. Ms Netta is being financially abused. You can put the camera back on me, Omoware. Ms Netta is being financially abused. Why is that significant? Let's talk a little bit about where Ms Netta is coming from. Okay, Ms Netta is coming from a rural area in Alabama, living in a trailer, okay, where folks get disability checks and have kitchen gardens, okay? And now Ms Netta's making money. That's obvious. Ms Netta's making money. Ms Netta's getting free hairdos and makeup and outfits and all kinds of stuff, and people have their hand out, and Ms Netta doesn't exactly know how to say no, okay? And so Netta's being financially abused by folks from the crib. That spiritual work is going to help her clear through that, though, and see more clearly. Actually, if you look here, I have clear sight over the heart chakra, okay? So Ms Netta needs to still be compassionate, still lead with her heart, but allow her heart to help her lead with love, so that while seeing clearly, basically. Okay. So because someone helped you back in the day, because someone is a person that you grew up with. So now I'm switching the messages for us, right? Because someone is a homegirl or a homeboy, somebody that you grew up with, somebody that you knew from back in the day, you may have a heart for them. They may understand you, and vice versa. You don't have to give them your money when you experience success. You don't have to make every loan that you're propositioned with. You don't have to share every check that you get. Lead with your heart, but have a clear head and clear sight when doing so, okay? There's actually a lot going on with these chakras, okay? Over the throat. And if y'all have paid any attention to what's been going on, y'all have seen what I see. We've been talking about the explosive nature of some of these conversations that Ms Netta has had online. And I see it in two places, right here and right here. And this is talking about Ms Netta needing medicine for anger to perfect her speech. Okay, Ms Netta needs to perfect her speech. When Ms Netta is angry, Ms Netta's speech is not impeccable. Okay, Ms Netta is not only not behaving probably in the most ladylike fashion, but Ms Netta is not even saying things that are true, or that are helpful or useful to anybody. And Ms Netta needs medicine for that. If you look here, you'll see my medicine bowl is what is lit up here with the anger stone. Ms Netta actually needs medicine to help her. So what is this saying to me? It's saying that if Ms Netta could get this aspect under control, it would be a lot more profitable. She could still be a media, have this media frenzy, and she could still even have conflict with people. But as it said up here at the top of the board, she would come from a place that's a little bit more powerful. And so therefore it's going to be beneficial to her. And so what does that mean for us? Anger is always a poor advisor. Okay. Put some honey under your tongue before you speak. If you are having any heightened emotion, particularly anger. Okay. This is not a fight for Ms Netta. Okay. She's not sweating. Ms Netta is doing this kind of effortlessly. Okay. The ancestors are saying no, she's not fighting. She's not fighting for her life. She's not in danger of losing anything. She's not barely hanging on. They're talking about Ms Netta being canceled. That's not true. Ms Netta is cool as a cucumber, but they told us right here that she was wearing a mask and that this stuff was not nearly affecting Ms Netta nearly as bad as it might appear to be. And I think that that is all that I see on this throw. So if I sum this up, really, you guys, what do we need to know about Ms Netta's success? We need to know that her ancestral treasury provides for Ms Netta to experience success. This particular form of success, the social aspects of it, the social media aspects of it, the foolery and fuckery of it all, that is not what was intended for Ms Netta, but is permissible as a part of her destiny. Ms Netta properly positioned herself to experience these moments and continues to do so. Ms Netta is a student, okay? I got my soda light here, student stone. Ms Netta is a student, and Ms Netta learns from everything that they experience. So Ms Netta is learning as she goes. And y'all, we have not heard the last of Ms Netta and Charles. Charles really does love Ms Netta, y'all. But he may be in a little bit of a different place than she is. And I think that that has more to do with his age than anything else. But I think that they are a real couple. I think that they really are together. And I don't think we've heard the last from them. Does anybody have any questions about Ms Netta at this time? I'll take a few questions. I have my cards here. And I'm going to just do a one card pull on the questions that y'all asked rather than go into a whole nother 20-minute bone reading. If anybody has any questions. Let me see, did I miss anything? All right. Well, if nobody had, why is she mad at Black women? Okay. So I prefer to ask the question like, what do we need to know about Netta's relationship to Black women? Now, I have my own theories, but I'm gonna let the cards speak. Okay. And I'm just gonna pull this first card. And what is it? Oh, y'all, that's the Mother card, Queen of Hearts, and it's upside down. Netta has been had a bad relationship with Black women. Netta has not had a good relationship with Black women since way back when. Okay, this is the Mother card, and it's upside down. Miss Netta's been struggling with relationships with Black women since her relationship with her own mother. Okay, that is what the cards are saying. And I'm not going to get too deep into that because this is more about Ms. Netta's success and this social media frenzy. I do not want to get into a deep reading about Ms. Netta's family structure and her experience in childhood. I just, out of respect, I'm not going to do that tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was a little bit of a guilty pleasure. Y'all know I don't typically do readings like this, but I have a lot of respect for Ms Netta. And I am very much excited to see what else we're going to see from Ms Netta besides Charles's lunch being ready. Thank you for joining me. And until we meet again, may the ancestors watch between me and thee.
If nobody talks about you, then you are